boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. Hope you're okay on this Monday morning. It's the 23rd of December. It is Christmas Eve. There you go. Hope you're all having a great day and a great build up to the big day, the Christmas day, which is a day or 2 days, day and a half, depending on how you look at it. A little bit over a day. Let's put it that way instead. And as always, it's 10 o'clock. It's Monday morning. That can mean one thing. FPL, Fantasy Premier League, all football talk this morning, all about the Premier League fixtures and point scores, etc. on that weekend. And it was quite a busy weekend, wasn't it? Quite an intriguing weekend for all football fans out there. And let's have a little look. Without any further ado, let's go straight in. Let's share that screen and let you guys see what I see as usual. Let's go. So, the fixtures. Let's have a little look at the fixtures and the scores to begin with before we reveal the big points thing. You might have seen that there cheekily before I pulled up the share screen. But otherwise, let's go for it. A big game, wasn't it? At 12:30, I think 12 o'clock kickoff, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. The Villa-Manchester City game didn't go as I expected it to. I expected it to be a little bit tighter than that. I actually expected City to win just about on that game as well. And I was praying for a Haaland performance. No. The only good news, and it's not good news in the end, is that Rico Lewis did come back into the first team I expected. The defence, that kind of thing, although Ake was on the bench. Fairly strong bench for City. But Villa were really, really good, weren't they? 1-2-1. They were at home. The home crowd were rocking at Villa Park, weren't they? Duran scoring again for Villa. Did really, really well. And the biggest disappointment, Morgan Rogers. As you guys know, if you watched the previous part, he was out with a little bit of frustration, up and down. And he's still a really good player for Aston Villa, but his performances were, sketchy. Occasionally he'd do nothing. I know he's still a fairly good player for Villa and still a fairly good player in general. But for FPL points wise, it was 2s, 3s. Then he'd do really well in one game, 2, 3, really well in another game. It was just too erratic, really. Not enough consistency, very flat line, very sort of plateau, and then suddenly he'd do well. And that wasn't enough. I wanted a player who would perform frequently, who was doing quite well as well. So obviously I went with Enzo Fernandez, and Amad Diallo also was brought in. If you remember, for him as Rutter went out of my team also. So I missed out on Rodgers' huge haul, or fairly big haul, against Manchester City. He would have got me a good amount of points had I kept him in my team. I was obviously concerned, and it happened, by the way, the price drop. So I'd lose money on Aston Villa, Morgan Rogers, so I got rid of him. And he performed well, didn't he? Of course he did. Goal and assist, I think it was, wasn't it, against Manchester City. Brentford lost against Forest. I was a little surprised they didn't score. Reading things about Brentford and looking at their history and their form, they're quite good at home. They usually score, sometimes pretty much win or do well at home at least, get results. But they didn't. I know they're sketchy in general as a team. Again, Thomas Frank, I don't know what he's done this season. He's not as consistent as other seasons, so I'm not sure what's happened to Brentford. Maybe they're trying to change their style and be more attacking, and it's backfiring a little bit. Forest flying, aren't they? I know Chris Wood didn't score on the weekend, but he's a really good player, and they still won without him scoring. The big game, though, in terms of points, Isak and Newcastle United 4-0 thumping of Ipswich. They were really, really impressive, weren't they, away at Ipswich? I mean, admittedly, a lot of teams are going to be good against Ipswich, although Ipswich have done well against some teams this season. They've been quite good, fairly consistent, haven't they, within reason. Of all the teams that have come up with them, Southampton and Leicester, Ipswich, I think, have the best chance of staying up. They'll put it down to one of those games against a big team like Newcastle. Isak was flying. Hat-trick, I think he got in the end. Really, really good performance from him. A lot of people have jumped off certain players and onto him, if not already currently did it. So, I get the whole hype with Isak. He's consistent. My only question mark with Isak is injuries, but he might be over them this season. I don't have him. Might be time to jump on him, actually, but there you go. West Ham and Brighton. I was toying between the goalkeepers, remember, wasn't I? Do I play Raya? Do I play Fabianski? I was pretty much set on Raya in the end. Both goalkeepers conceded in their matches on Saturday. Both of them got save points. So actually, Raya and Fabianski ended up with exactly the same points in the end, so 3 apiece. So it didn't matter who I went with, I would have still got 3 points for my goalkeeper. Rutter, I kicked out of the team for Brighton, so I didn't have a Brighton asset in my team. I obviously had Fabianski for West Ham, but he was on the bench. 1-1, good game that one. Kudus, by the way, I mentioned him a few times. He assisted in the previous match, I think, goal in this one. Keep an eye on Kudus for West Ham. A lot of people are jumping on the Bowen bandwagon. Though ignore Kudus, he's a good player. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. I was disappointed that they conceded. And the biggest disappointment, and I'm hoping it's not extreme, Saka's injury after 20-odd minutes of the game. That was a shocker, especially as they scored 5 and Saka would have feasted in that. He really would have. I reckon a goal, assist, maybe a couple of goals in that game. But yeah, nothing in the end because he was injured very, very quickly in the game. Obviously, the hope is that he's not injured, being a huge Bukayo Saka fan. I don't want him to be injured for Arsenal in general. So I'm hoping that it's just a pull or a hamstring strain or something like that. But he did leave the stadium. Pictures and reports show that he left the stadium on crutches, which is not great really for Arsenal. I'm hoping that's not extreme. I have money tied up in Bukayo Saka. I bought him at 10 million at the start of the season. So in general, I was hoping that I was hoping that it wasn't too serious, but he did come off on the 20th minute, so fingers crossed it's not too major. In terms of clean sheets, no one got one, unfortunately, because Crystal Palace snuck in that goal, didn't they? If you've got Gabriel Jesus, he did well as well, and so did Havertz. I think did well. Did Havertz score? I think he did, didn't he, in the game? Let's have a quick look just to refresh my memory. He did. Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, and Rice. Sarr, by the way, I mentioned him a few parts back. He's doing well for Crystal Palace, He's not doing it in the absence of Eze neither now. He's playing alongside him, so really good play from Sarr. He scored against Arsenal. Then we had the matches yesterday, didn't we? Everton-Chelsea was a shock. It was. I'm not going to hide the obvious. I know Everton are doing really well now. They're looking really quite solid on the Dyson over at home, more importantly. But Chelsea have scored in a fixture. I think it's the only fixture they've failed to score in this season, which is a bit of a surprise. Nicholas Jackson at the post, and I was like, oh, come on, someone score. Let's get some points on this board for my team because they were looking pretty bad. When Saturday's matches finished, my points were terrible. They really were. I basically had next to nothing. I had a couple from Raya, and then 2 points from Haaland, nothing from Lewis because he was, he got a 0 in the end, which is brilliant. I had one point actually, I think it was from Wisa, because he got booked, I think, in the game against Forest. So I only got a couple of points, 3 for 5. Nothing, next to nothing in the end. Bukayo Saka obviously was brought off, so I got a point from him, but that was it. So it was awful. And then come Sunday, the sort of morning after, I was thinking, I hope today is the day because I've been really bad on Saturday. Been really terrible points-wise. Chelsea. So I got 3 points from Enzo Fernandez, didn't I? Because I've got him in the team. Nicholas Jackson didn't score, nearly did. I was hoping he would finish that, but he hit the post. And then Colwell I had as well. So I had a couple of players in that game. No Everton assets. I know you guys like a bit of Ashley Young. Mikalenko's next on the to-do list. Pickford. Some of you got your main goalkeeper, so I get it. Fulham Southampton ended up with 0-0 draw. So if you've got any Fulham or Southampton assets, you've got yourselves some clean sheet points in that game. Leicester versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, if you've got Cunha, although he may have a ban, we have to keep an eye on him. You've got some points from Cunha because he scored in that match. Then the shock, in my opinion, a bit of a shock. Man United versus Bournemouth. Now, I know, once again, Bournemouth are doing really, really well, aren't they, in the Prem this season? They are doing really well under Iraola. They're doing really, really, really well. However, come on, you expect Manchester United at home to do something. Result, maybe a draw, a win at least, scrape win, at least to put in a bit of performance. But, from what I'm reading and the sort of post-report of the match, they weren't fantastic, were they, really? Bournemouth were really, really good, driven, controlled, really good, score when they need to, took their chances. So, well done to Bournemouth. Again, I had Amad Diallo in that match, so a bit disappointed because I brought him in, and his purple patch was there. There's a lot of talk about how you chase points in Fantasy Premier League, don't you? You bring in players, knee-jerk them in, you bring in Enzo, you bring in Amad Diallo because they've done really well previously, and then the moment you bring him in, it's that age-old curse, isn't it, really? They don't perform, and they didn't. Neither Enzo nor Amad Diallo did well. Enzo had an okay fixture against Everton. Amad Diallo had an okay fixture against Bournemouth, and you'd think they'd be able to do something, wouldn't you? Hey-ho, typical. And then Morgan Rogers, just to compound the issue, goes and does well, doesn't he, on Saturday afternoon against Man City. And I know Man City aren't at the top. And I know that they're sort of in that awkward phase where they're not performing well. They've lost quite a few on the bounce. But it's just one of those things you still expect them to turn up and do something Haaland especially. He said he's not playing well enough. I would entirely agree with that. But is he getting the support from the team? He's got De Bruyne in the team. He's got all these players, Foden, Grealish. Just goes to show you can have all the great players in the world, but if they're not, clicking, doesn't matter. They made a really good match, didn't we, yesterday? We had Tottenham versus Liverpool. We did a really good game. 6-3, 9 goals in that game. Really, really, really good game. I watched it. Mo Salah was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he? Oh, my days. I put it as a post on X. If you don't have him as captain, there's something wrong with you. If you don't remember your team, there's something wrong with you. But captaining him, it has to be a must. Always captain Salah. ACS. It's the big one, isn't it, really? That should be trending. ACS. There you go. Get that on a hashtag. But it was a good game yesterday. I really enjoyed that one. Let's be honest, though Tottenham scored 3, Liverpool were the dominant side throughout the whole game. Tottenham had very, very, very small spells of doing well in that sort of first half at the beginning. But in the end, Liverpool just steamrolled it. I think they just relaxed, and that's why they let the extra goals in, really. Made a few changes, made a few substitutions, which would have affected the flow. But, Slot had the team flying. They are quite literally the head and shoulders above all the teams at the moment. I know they're top of the league, and it's obvious to say that, but they are head and shoulders above, aren't they? They're flying right now. They are a juggernaut. They're just constantly getting results. Interestingly enough, they still haven't wrapped up the deal for Salah, have they? Despite the fact that they're saying they're going to do it. And it's almost like he's playing for a contract, or he's a young sort of 20-year-old Salah again that just joined Liverpool. He's absolutely brilliant right now to watch. I'm not a Liverpool fan by any means, but I appreciate good football and I appreciate great footballers, and he is really good. I would say FPL legend without a doubt. If you captained him yesterday, you got a good top end 40 points, didn't you, really? You got 40 points plus for having him as your captain. I had Gomez in that team as well, who conceded a fair few. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a pain. It's when it was sort of 1 goal to Tottenham, that was okay. 2 points. Tottenham were at home. I expected them to possibly score. They're doing okay, aren't they? Really, Tottenham with Son, Kulusevski playing well for them as well. But then when the second goal went in, the third goal went in, I was thinking, it's going to be a 1-pointer, isn't it, for my defender? It was either them. Or let's be honest, the alternative to Gomez was Dragusin for Tottenham, and he conceded 6 goals -1. So I'm quite pleased I didn't put him in the starting 11. So Gomez started for me. On top of that, I had on the bench Johnson again. Disappointed with him. He's benched again for Spurs. He's got 4 points because he got an assist in the end. That was disappointing to see him not play. Considering he didn't play midweek, I thought maybe that's a start for Brennan Johnson against Liverpool. A bit of pace down that wing, maybe to fight against, he'd be on the right, so he'd be fighting, Andy Robertson, which means he might get the better of him. Maybe even swap him over and play him against Trent, who's quite, he likes to push up a bit, so there might be space. But hey-ho, 6-3 was the score in the end. Really good game. So yes, if you've got Mo Salah in your team, well done. Luis Diaz did well yesterday as well for Liverpool. Kulusevski played well, scored for Spurs, didn't he, as well? Solanke got a goal as well. So yeah, they did okay in the end, but they still lost. And to be quite frank, Liverpool didn't make those changes. They would have gone on to win it probably 6-1, 6-2 at a push, really. So some really good games. That was my pick during one of my previous parts, Spurs versus Liverpool. It ends up being the pick of the fixtures, isn't it, really? It's 6-3, really good game. So there you go, just looking at that, really good. Surprise sort of results there. The Villa game, Man City a bit surprised. Brentford and Forest, I was a bit surprised in that one. Everton, Chelsea, definitely surprised that Chelsea didn't score, possibly even win that. And then your Man United Bournemouth game, I was a little surprised that United didn't do much because I thought they were starting to show signs, but clearly they were not. So looking really quickly then at, we'll jump onto Reddit really fast so you guys can see what's happening now. If you guys follow the price changes, this is one to look at for you guys today, especially what's been going on in terms of the price changes. So Gabriel Jesus has gone up. Gabriel, the defender for Arsenal, has gone up. Mo Salah has gone up. Aina has gone up from Forest, and Bowen has gone up from West Ham. Down went Saka. Lost a bit of money on him because I bought him at 10. He was previously 10.6. Now he's 10.5, so I lost a couple 0.1 mil on that one. Buendia has gone down. Greaves has gone down. Greaves is someone I'm really interested in. 3.9. If he starts playing again for Ipswich, there is 3.9 defender ready for me to swap over for Kwanzaa. Justin's gone down from Leicester. Haaland's a big problem as well for me. Gone down to 14.8. Do you hold? Is now the time to get rid? Question for you guys out there. Let me know in the comments. Rashford's gone down, but let's be honest, he's pretty much out of the team. Pedro Porro's gone down surprisingly, though again Tottenham have been on the slump. Somerville's gone down, and Strand Larsen's a big one go down, actually. But then we'll see what happens with Wolves. Cunha's obviously potentially going to be banned. So definitely an interesting one there. And let's have a quick look then for the next few minutes at my game week points. So 63 is what I finished with this game week. Game week 17, 63 points. The average was 60. So I'm minutely happy. Only minutely. Now I'm happier than I have been in the past few weeks. Because if I can't get high enough, my plan really every single week is to beat the average points. Really, average points I've beaten by 3 the past few weeks. You'll remember I've been down on the average points quite a bit. So I'm quite happy this week in that sense. My points essentially 3 for Raya. He conceded, didn't they? Arsenal against Crystal Palace. So I only got 3. Gomez, I got 1 because they conceded 3 goals. Liverpool against Tottenham. Colwell got me 6. So that's a positive. 6 points in the bank there with the draw from Chelsea and Everton. Lewis got me 0, didn't he? Because Manchester City conceded and the man got a yellow card. Again, petulance from Rico Lewis. He was red carded in previous matches. So, yes, not good. Saka got me 1. Keeping an eye on him. A bit of a shame he got injured. Of all the players in the team to get injured, he's the one thinking, no, don't do it. And he did, because he is a bright spark. He's the go-to man for Arsenal. Mo Salah rescued my game week. Say no more. 42 points. 42. That's it. 3 bonus points, 2 assists, 2 goals, and 86 minutes played, and a partridge in a pear tree for you guys. There you go. 42 points and captained. Always Captain Salah. ACS, you know the job. Amad Diallo didn't do well, did he, against Bournemouth? Got 2 points. And Man United lost. Enzo got 3 because of the draw against Everton. Bit shrug his shoulders considering he's done quite well recently, and I don't think he was massively involved in that game. Wissa got 1 point. He got a yellow card as Brentford lost to Forest. Not good for Wissa. Nicholas Jackson got 2. He hit that post, didn't he, against Everton? Should have scored. He got 2. And Haaland, another disappointing performance from him as Man City lost to Aston Villa. And that's not looking pretty good when you look at his history. 2-2, 7-5, 2-2, 2-5, 2-6. Not good for Haaland at all. But I'm telling you, and you could call me a mad person. You could call me crazy. But the truth is, something's going to happen with City at some point. They're going to explode. They can't stay like this forever. My bench was a little bit 3 for Fabianski. So either goalkeeper would have got me the same points. 4 for Brennan Johnson. Now, remember, he was benched. He came on and he got an assist. So he would have got me more points than Amad Diallo, Enzo, Saka, Wissa, Nicholas Jackson, or Haaland. So technically speaking, I lost some points there on the bench, didn't I, to Brennan Johnson. Dragusin would have destroyed the defence side of things with -1, so I would have lost a point. So if anything, the 3 defenders that I had were better than the defenders on the bench because Kwanzaa got 0, didn't play, and Dragusin got -1. So there you go. Those are the fixtures. If you guys had Villa players, well done. If you had Rodgers, goal and assist, 3 bonus points, and he got you a juicy 14, didn't he? If you had Duran, because a lot of people were jumping on him as a player to start, you would have got yourself 7, goal and a bonus point. If you, for some reason, had Phil Foden, well done. You got a goal and 2 bonus points in that game. In the Forest game against Brentford, if you got Aina, I know a lot of people have Aina in their team, you got yourselves a decent 15 goal and a clean sheet. Very nice with 3 bonus points. He's 5 million, so it's quite expensive now. If you guys had Nico Williams, and I was looking at Nico Williams, he's definitely on my to-do list potentially, you would have got yourselves 11 2 bonus points and a clean sheet. If you had Anthony Elanga, only 0.7% of you do, you would have had yourself a goal in the past 2 games, mind you, and a bonus point in this one. Brentford, Sells, if you had him as a goalkeeper in your team, you had 3 bonus points and a clean sheet. Again, 4.7 million, 8.4% if you have him. Newcastle United, Isak was the man, wasn't he, really? 3 goals. That's right. He got himself a lovely 3 bonus points and 17 in the past few games. Let's start Liverpool, 11 points. Against Brentford, 8 points, 11 points against Leicester, and 17 against Ipswich. Really good. I know a lot of you have Isak. In fact, 35% of the total managers on FPL have Isak. Yes, they do. Now, a man I'm looking at as well, Jacob Murphy. He's done well in the past year. My only issue with Jacob Murphy, firstly, he's been coming off around the 60-minute mark. He lost out against Brentford an extra point and maybe even some bonus points in that one. He's played 63, so borderline, isn't he, really? Just about playing for the duration of getting a 60-minute points. That's 2 points. But he has done well. 7, 13, and 13. Brentford, Leicester, and Ipswich, though, you could argue. So how he does against Villa, Man United, and Spurs might give us an idea of whether he is a potential player. Remember, Barnes isn't starting. Anthony Gordon's on the other side for them. So maybe a player to look at some point. Gordon is playing, though, and he's doing well. He's got 6 and 6 in the past 2 games, 2 assists. Not great. You expect him to still get goals on amongst it, especially with a 4-0 victory. Expect a bit more maybe from him. Hall is doing well. A few weeks ago, if you remember, I was toying with bringing him in. He didn't do well for the few weeks after when I said, no, I'll bring someone else in. And then he got 15 and 7 the past few and has jumped up to 4.6. There is still opportunity, though, to get into the Newcastle defence if you want in Burn and Botman, who'll be back soon, both for 4.4 million if you want a cheap way in. West Ham, I've mentioned this before, Kudus and Bowen are linking well again now. They've done well in the past few games, haven't they, really? This game here against Wolves, he got an assist. Didn't do much against Bournemouth, but then did get a goal on Saturday, wasn't it? Yep. Bowen's done well recently as well. Similar scenario, he got an assist against Brighton, but then he got the goal assist against Wolves. So the two of those are the go-to players, aren't they? Dunk got an assist yesterday, which might stop him from dropping to 4.3. He was borderline. Got 5 points yesterday, but they conceded, didn't they? 1-1 in that one. Arsenal's the big concern for me in this, and that is for a lot of people who have got Bukayo Saka. In fact, let us jump and see 39.3% of us have Bukayo Saka in the team. Went off after 20-odd minutes, not great. But if you've got Gabriel Jesus, because he has rocketed a bit recently in terms of transfers in, he's got 2 goals and an assist against Crystal Palace. Havertz did quite well yesterday, got himself a goal. Didn't last the 60, though. Surprise. Martinelli might be a man to look at, though, in Saka's absence if he's out for a long period of time. He got himself a goal yesterday. And then, obviously, we've got the rest of the players in Rice, who's an interesting one, getting a goal and assist yesterday. So that's basically how it went. If you have any of these players in your team, you got yourself an okay score. It wasn't great because Arsenal conceded, especially defence-wise. Again, from the side of Crystal Palace, just to finish on that side of things, look at that for Ismaila Sarr. Done good in 2 games and won against Brighton. Very decent side. Did well against Arsenal. So, and more importantly, if you look at his minutes, he's basically the go-to man, isn't he, really? In the past few minutes, 60 minutes throughout the last game since game week 9 he's been playing. So doing well, Ismaila Sarr. Then we got the surprise game, but maybe not for you Everton fans, maybe not in general for Fantasy Premier League fans are thinking, come on, AJ, Everton to do well. Dycheball, I read a lot about. Dycheball this, Dycheball that. He's got the defence working again. 0-0 draw against Chelsea. Good result. Really good result for Everton. If you've got yourself Pickford, he got himself 7 points yesterday because of 4 saves he made. Mikolenko is a big one, isn't he, at 4.3. 11, 7 and 7. It's good reading, that is. I bet you any money if I bring him in, he starts to concede and Everton will go downhill. No clean sheets for me. He has a good set of 4.8% ownership. He got himself a bonus point for the past 2 games and 2 against Wolves. If you've got Chelsea, quite frankly, not many of you had Tosin. You would have got yourself 9. 3 bonus points is in that one. And Sanchez got himself 9 with 13%. Robert Sanchez. So, okay, fair enough. One thing I will say about Tosin, he doesn't play that much, but he's 4.2 million, so he's quite cheap. So keep an eye on that defence. If they play him frequently, he might be worth a punt at 4.2. Fulham, again, if you've got defence, really well done, because that's basically your way of getting bonus points. Good play from Southampton yesterday. They brought in Ivan. Is it Ivan? The manager, I think they were looking at, Juric. So that was a bit left field. I didn't expect him to be the manager. At least they're bringing him or brought him in as the manager. So he's the new one, isn't he, really, for them? Okay, we'll see how he does for them. But in general, good performance. 0-0. Points on the board. Ramsdale got himself 3 bonus points. 5 saves. Got 10 in total. Didn't he do well? Bednarek, £4 million. Could he be a man to go to now? We'll have to keep an eye on. I've got him and Greaves saved as options for the cheap defence side of things. Then we had Howard Bellis played and Wood, again, another potential cheap way into the Southampton defence at 4 million. Low ownership as well. Interestingly enough, no bonus points for any of the Fulham team. That's quite surprising. Robertson especially is a bit of a fan's favourite, 21.6% ownership, so I'm quite surprised he didn't have any. I do have Anderson on my watch list when he is back. So he's 4.2 million, so one to definitely watch for Fulham. Wolves did really well yesterday, didn't they? Cunha naturally gets the bonus points and gets all the attention with goal in the last two games, one against Ipswich and one against Leicester in the 3-0 victory. They just got a clean sheet and 3 bonus points against Leicester. Guedes did well, and Gomez. If you've got any of those players, well done. Defence-wise, if you've got Doherty, you got yourself a assist and clean sheet and a bonus point. So well done you. Vardy, nothing going on for Vardy. Ward played for them yesterday as well, 90 minutes. Didn't do much because he ended up conceding, didn't he? So not the greatest from Wolves. The surprise, one of the surprises of the weekend, Man United's performance against Bournemouth, not great, to be honest with you. But if you've got yourselves anything Bournemouth-wise, apart from Ivan Nielsen, he did well. Kluivert's doing well recently, isn't he, really? Got a goal, got a couple against Wolves, been okay, been playing 60 minutes plus for them as well. 5.5 million at 4.3% ownership, doing well. Semenyo's back with the goals. A lot of people sold him, didn't they? He's dropped in price a tiny bit. Got himself a goal. I think he might have stalled or stemmed the transfers out. Huijsen's a player that people have been looking at as well, isn't he, really? He's got a goal, 2 goals in the last 4 games, one against Tottenham and Man U. Likes playing against the big teams, isn't he? Also got a clean sheet. Don't forget yesterday, yellow card, mind you, on the negative side, but 3 bonus points for the 4.3 million man at Bournemouth. And that's basically it, really. The bonuses went to Huijsen. He got 3. Kepa, not many people have Kepa. He's got himself 9. 4.5 million, 1.1% ownership, 9, 2 bonus points in that one, and Christie got the others. And then the big game that we all watched yesterday, the match of the weekend, 6-3 Liverpool, and the goals of Solanke, Kulusevski, and Maddison did well yesterday. Maddison did well, let's be fair. Liverpool's Luis Diaz twice, Mo Salah twice, McAllister got a goal, and Szoboszlai got a goal as well. Solanke assisting in the game. Also, Brennan Johnson came off the bench and assisted Solanke's goal. Szoboszlai got 3 assists, hat-trick of assists. Mo Salah got 2 assists, and Trent got 1. So your bonus points, 3 to Mo Salah, 2 to Dominic Szoboszlai, and 1 to Luis Diaz. So yes, you ended up with Salah, got 21 points, didn't he? If you had Szoboszlai, you got 17 points. If you had Luis Diaz, you got yourself 13 points. Not bad. If you had yourself Solanke, 9 in this game. If you had Maddison, who's doing well quite recently, you had 6 in this one. He only lasted 57 minutes. And if you had Kulusevski, who I'm a fan of and I'm keeping an eye on, you would have got 7. So not bad in that game, really. Trent, you happen to have him lying around, because a lot of people do have Trent and the cash, the luxury of having Trent Alexander-Arnold in your team. You got yourself 4 yesterday, which is better than nothing, isn't it, really? I don't think many people got McAllister, 1.3% got him. Yeah, he's a bit sort of like deeper, isn't he, really, as a player for Liverpool, so he won't get you many points. So yeah, okay in the end is the conclusions. That's 63 points. As always with the socials, I'm on all of them. I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm on X, AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_8_8_5. And obviously on YouTube, where all the videos go to, AJ Hardy 85. Check it out, like, subscribe, and follow if you would. That's right. And chat to me, leave some messages, comment. That's right. Send some DMs over. I do get rare ones, but occasional ones. I like to chat to you guys about what's going on. All things fantasy, all things Premier League, all things football. Leave me messages. I got 63 points this week out of an average of 60. Let me know how many points you got. Let me know what you think of the team. I know you're all screaming at me saying, get rid of the Man City assets. Just kick them out now. Get rid of them immediately, and your team will be a lot better. Get rid of the Spurs assets potentially as well, or maybe swap Johnson out. They are dead wood. We do have, don't forget, a wild card in a couple of weeks' time. Not that I plan to use it in a week or two's time. We also have that assistant manager chip I'm intrigued about, so I'm keeping an eye on that and keeping 0.5 million funds just in case. So yes, keep an eye on those things. Join me again at 2:30 this afternoon, and we will take a look at any price changes, any players that are due to go up in price this evening, any players that are borderline to go down in price as well, so you guys know exactly what's potentially going to happen tomorrow. Otherwise, as always, enjoy the rest of your morning. Remember, it is Christmas Eve, so I hope you're keeping the kids occupied, keeping them all excited. If you can see behind me, I've got an advent calendar on this side, and I've got a Christmas tree on this side. And what's this on the head? Ho, ho, ho. Oh, yes, AJ's doing Christmas in style this year. So yes, see you guys at 2:30 this afternoon when we do part 23, where I'll talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening this evening in terms of price increases and price deductions. But otherwise, take it easy. I've been AJ. I'll see you wonderful people. And as always, thanks for tuning in.